Getting reliable information about how much the Xbox One and the Xbox One X has sold has been a monumentally difficult thing because Microsoft only likes to share monthly active users. But because of an analyst, we now know exactly, or at least a roundabout figure, of the sales of the Xbox One and the X. What is going on, guys? Randall Thor 19, the man with the million, back again with another video. And if you're waiting for my PlayStation 4 prediction video for 2018, you don't have to wait much longer. It'll be coming out in a few hours once I finish it up. But we're going to be talking about some sales figures because for the longest time, ever since Microsoft stopped giving out sales information, close to around end of 2014, 2015, when it was clear that they were getting their, they were getting destroyed by the PlayStation, people have wondered, how exactly well is the system selling? And nobody knew. Sure, you could kind of point to 2-to-1, which is kind of the barometer I've used. The PlayStation 4 is dominating the video game industry, especially with hardware. I think recently they announced 73 million, or maybe it was 76. They changes all the time because Sony's just absolutely killing it. But for me, when people ask like, "Hey Rand, what do you think the Xbox One is at?" I always say it's about half of what the PlayStation is at. But here we have an analyst, you might know him, going by the name of ZhugeEx. I know a lot of people like him. I know a lot of people don't like him, but he always seems to give quality information. And he's citing an unreleased MPD report. So it's not really a guess. It's more of like factual information. But anyways, came out on the forum ResetEra talking about how much it sold, and he butted in and said that the Xbox One global sales are close to 35 million units. Now that's interesting because now people can have a reference point versus PlayStation versus Xbox versus Nintendo. And of course, the fanboys will run with it one way. If you're a PlayStation fan, you'll talk about it how, the Xbox is dead, the Xbox is destroyed, nobody cares about the Xbox. And of course, if you're an Xbox fan, you'll probably say that there's no way it's 35 million, it has to be more than that. It's been 35 million to 30 million for years now. Either way, I think the number's close to what exactly he's saying. 35 million, 36 million, maybe even 37 million. Because it's about 2-to-1 to the PlayStation. And that really hasn't changed. In fact, it probably even getting closer to like 2.2 or 2.3, considering last year the Xbox was having trouble selling systems in the back half because people were waiting for the X while the PlayStation was just racking up a good month after good month. And now, of course, Microsoft has to worry about the Switch coming in. Now, the Switch has sold like 14 million consoles in basically like 10 months, so less than a year. So it won't be long now before the Switch, probably sometime in 2019, when it passes up the Xbox for number 2. I don't know if it can beat PlayStation. I don't know if this gen will even be around long enough, because personally I think we're going to see a new generation of console hardware in 2020, while the Switch will probably keep on going way past PlayStation 4 and Xbox One when their successors have been on the market. So who knows how long the Switch is going to go for. But the other interesting tidbit outside of the sales figure is the Xbox One X. That's another thing people have been wondering. How well are the mid-gen consoles doing? Was this a success for Microsoft and Sony? Because Sony has their own with the PS4 Pro. Sony was saying, hey, 1 in 4 PlayStations are the Pro. It was doing better than they thought. So people are wondering, well, how is the X going to do? Because it is a $500 machine. People were worried that, $500 machine in this marketplace going up against the Pro, which does things similar but not as good for $100 less. People were wondering, would people gravitate to it? Would people buy it outside of the hardcore Xbox fan base like myself who bought it day one? Yes, it makes games run better. Yes, it makes the games look better, but it doesn't have any exclusives to itself. It just runs games the same, or runs games that are the same on the Xbox One. There are no exclusives, similar to no exclusives on the Pro. So people are wondering, hey, are you going to drop $500 on this thing? And ZhugeEx is saying, yeah, people have that. If you launch a line, the console launch, that the Xbox One X is outselling the PS4 Pro in the United States when launched a line, and that the One X got off to a really good start. Now, of course, this is citing MPD information. They only have US data, and that is, of course, Microsoft's biggest market. Their absolutely biggest market, next to maybe the UK and maybe Australia. So, did it launch line outsell the PS4 Pro in places like Spain or Germany or France? I'm not too sure. The Xbox really isn't a thing in some European countries, so I would not be surprised if the Pro still won in Europe last year. And I think the Xbox One probably outsold the Pro last year, but overall, the overall amount of sales, since the Pro's been in the market for a year longer, I think despite the Xbox One X starting off strong, it probably hasn't been able to eclipse the PS4 Pro's total user base. So I think the Pro still has more systems sold since it's been out, but the Xbox One X started off good. Now, the question is, are other developers going to be like, you know what, there is a audience there that bought these mid-gen consoles, so we want, is it in our best interest to add more features to it? Monster Hunter World came out with the cinematic mode and a performance mode. Shadow Colossus, even though it's Sony's game, cinematic performance. I would hope that by these pretty good numbers, Sony said it did well for them. It seems like the Xbox One X is at least launch line doing better than the Pro. That speaks volumes to some developers, and we get some games that more games that take advantage of the power of both systems. Yeah, I know people will say, oh, the PS4 Pro is just a resolution machine while the Xbox One X is better. Well, I mean, it came out a year later and also is $100 more expensive. What do you expect to happen? Of course, the X was going to be more powerful and can do things better than the Pro, but that's not the conversation in this video. I think the conversation is developers want to develop for something they know people are buying. And since the X seems to doing well, and Sony's and the Pro's doing well, I think more developers will take the time and effort to make, updates and different options for their games going forward, which only is going to make people like me and people that have the systems much happier. Because when a game comes out now and there's no X support, I kind of get like, you know what? You didn't support the X. Why should I support your game? I have this X. Take advantage of what it offers, and I'll check it out. But I know people are going to do what they do. They're going to laugh at the 35 million that the Xbox has sold. They're going to praise the 76 million that the PlayStation has sold and said that, why is Xbox even in the game? Get them out of here. They're doing pretty bad. But, of course, that's not true. The PlayStation is doing phenomenally well. It's just the Xbox isn't as doing as well. There's enough room in this industry for everybody. You don't see Pepsi turning coat and running away because they don't sell as much as Coke does. Of course not. There's enough room here for everybody to make money. And even in their last quarterly reports, PlayStation, they announced that they had like almost $7 billion worth of revenue from hardware and software sales. And then Xbox, on the other hand, they had about $4 billion in revenue from hardware and games. So they're $4 billion a quarter, $7 billion a quarter. That's a lot of money. And that's a lot of money you're making $4 billion a quarter on a user base of 35 million. You're making some money. You're just not making as much money as the other guy. So you got to do things a little bit differently, and that's why Xbox Game Pass exists. That's why EA Access is on the Xbox One. That's why Microsoft is trying to make their feature very pro-consumer, because they need to kind of get out there and show themselves to the rest of the world. That's why you can digitally gift games. That's why there's the refund policy. That's why Microsoft is very community-focused, because they got to do things differently than PlayStation does, because they're not leading. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like on it, share it out on social media, as I would greatly appreciate that. Hit the sub button if you're new to the channel. If you have any comments you want to talk about it, please keep it. I know it's going to be fanboy fodder, but anyways, let me know what you think about all this. Is it 35 million exactly what you expected, or did you think it would be higher? Either way, hit the like button, hit the sub button, make sure you hit the notification bell, and I'll see everybody in my PS4 prediction video for 2018. Later, guys.